Imagine waking up tomorrow in an alternate timeline where the discovery of fire never happened. In this satellite view of Earth at night, continents like Europe and Africa are submerged in total darkness. No city lights break the land's silhouette. There are no candles for light and no heat for cooking. Because fire is the basis for the heat that generates our power, there is no electricity. The machines that build our world sit silent. It raises a question that hits at the very core of our identity. Without the ability to harness a flame, would humans still have conquered the planet, or would we have remained just another intelligent animal struggling to survive? When we examine the points where our history would have diverged, it becomes clear that controlling fire was more than a convenience. It was the developmental foundation for every major leap forward in human history. To see where it started, we look back 1.5 million years. Early humans were physically unremarkable compared to the animals around them. They had no sharp claws, no natural armor, and no powerful predatory jaws. On the African savanna, they lived alongside massive predators. Without fire to defend themselves after dark, early hominins were constant targets for lions and hyenas. The turning point arrived when species like Homo erectus learned to capture naturally occurring flames, perhaps from a bush igniting during a lightning strike, and realized they could keep it burning. But in this alternate timeline, that discovery never occurs. The spark is ignored, or the wind blows it out before a single human thinks to feed it. At first, the difference seems small, but over thousands of years, the consequences become enormous. We often assume fire's biggest contribution was warmth, but for the human species, its most significant biological gift was cooking. Cooking transforms food. It softens tough meat, breaks down plant fibers, and kills dangerous bacteria. Cooking breaks down tough fibers and releases significantly more usable calories, allowing our bodies to extract energy with far less effort than a raw diet requires. This caloric surplus fueled brain growth. This infographic compares modern and primitive brain volumes, illustrating a nearly 700 cubic centimeter gap. The deficit is clearest in cognitive capabilities. Without high-calorie fuel, the brain remained too underdeveloped to support abstract thinking, preventing civilization. Without the energy provided by cooked food, the intelligence that defines the modern world simply never evolves. Life without fire is also a life defined by fear. Every nightfall brings the immediate threat of predators, and with no fire to ward them off, human groups are forced to retreat into caves, their survival dependent on staying hidden in the dark. Geography becomes an even greater barrier. Without a way to generate heat or dry, wet clothing, humans cannot survive in cold climates. Harsh winters become impassable walls. This world map shows the resulting human settlement boundary. In this timeline, the species is permanently confined to the Gold regions, warm, tropical environments near the equator. Vast territories, Northern Europe, Siberia, and all of the Americas, remain entirely empty of human life. The map of humanity never expands beyond the tropics. Without the warmth of a flame, humans remain prisoners of their local climate, unable to migrate or settle the rest of the planet. Even for the tribes that thrive in the heat, progress hits a final technological wall: metallurgy. As this infographic shows, early humans could find metal ores like copper and iron, but they had no way to use them. Extracting these elements requires sustained high temperatures that are impossible to achieve without controlled fire. Because they cannot melt ore, humanity remains trapped forever, limited to wood, bone, and flint. The peak of human achievement in this timeline is represented by settlements like this: intricate mountain cities built with stone and wood, but lacking a single ounce of metal reinforcement or advanced infrastructure. Without metal, there are no global trade networks, no advanced ships, and no way to build the foundations of a modern economy. This technological stall means that when we reach the modern era, the Industrial Revolution never happens. The primary engine of human progress, the steam engine, requires heat to boil water and create pressure. Without fire, the very idea of mechanized power dissolves. No steam means no factories, no transcontinental railways, and no mechanized ships. The world remains massive, disconnected, and reliant on animal power. This also erases the information age. Without heat to spin turbines in power plants, large-scale electricity never exists. There is no internet, no computers, and the world remains in the dark. No satellites, no smartphones, no social media, no YouTube. In fact, you wouldn't be watching this video. This leads us to the final conclusion of the thought experiment. In a world without fire, would modern humans even exist? To survive on a raw food diet for 1,000,000 years, our bodies would have adapted differently. We would likely have retained larger teeth, heavier jaw muscles, and the smaller cranial capacity of our primitive ancestors. This timeline illustrates the evolutionary interruption. The path toward modern Homo sapiens ends early, as the biological requirements for a larger brain were never met. The features that define our species, written language, complex science, and space exploration, remain grayed-out possibilities that never come to pass. The humans of this alternate timeline are highly capable social animals, but they never become the masters of their environment. Returning to our own reality shows us two different versions of the same species. One remains a vulnerable primate hidden in the shadows, while the other builds global megacities and launches orbital satellites. Fire linked our biological evolution to our technological progress. By cooking our food and smelting our minerals, it provided the energy and the materials necessary for us to move beyond simple survival. All of our modern achievements can be traced back to a single flicker of light in the prehistoric dark and the ancestors who learned to protect it. Civilization didn't require an invention to begin. It just required a captured flame that we refuse to let go out.